Okay, we're going to take a look at the program to have two strings chase each other across the screen. And I'm starting from scratch here. I've just opened a brand new project, and the first thing I'm going to do is go to the top and put my name. This is something you should do in every program. And then a brief description of the program. And then to unclutter the program, now I can click on these minus signs here and it collapses it to one line, but these lines here that start with 3 slashes, the comments, they really don't add much. They're the same every single time I start up a new project. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and quickly delete all of them before I start, so my program isn't quite so cluttered. Okay, now in this program, here's my declaration area right here, and I got to leave those two things there, but I'm going to add a few more. I know that I need a couple of strings, so I need a good guy and a bad guy string, and if I'm going to position them on the screen, I also need to have a vector. So and it's always good to use descriptive names. That way when you have programs with lots of variables in them, you'll be able to know which variable does what. Okay, I need a random number generator because they need to be placed on the screen randomly at the beginning, so that's random. Okay, and I also need to read the two gamepads, so I need a gamepad state variable, and I'm going to call it pad 1, pad 2. Okay, and I'm going to do an integer variable to keep track of my game state. This is something that you'll probably be doing all the time. And I could use 1 and 2, but it makes a whole lot more sense to use descriptive names for this. So I'm going to do a constant int, and I'm going to capitalize names of my constants in this when I write C# programs. And one of them is going to be the waiting state. And the other is going to be the playing state, so I'm going to just use those names. Okay. And there may be some other variables here that I might have to come back and fix, but I know those are the main ones, just based on the problem description. So I need to initialize my good guy and bad guy string. So I only need to do that once, equals, and I'm using the Wingdings font. I haven't done that yet, but I will soon. And bad guy equals, okay, so I initialize them. I also need to find a random place to put them on the screen. So I need to find a random X and a random Y for both the good guy vector and the bad guy vector. So good guy vector dot X equals ran dot next, and I said we could go up to 750 on that. And the bad guy vector dot X is the same thing. That way they won't go off the screen. And then I need the good guy vector dot Y, and that's going to be rand dot next. I said we could go up to 430 on that, and same thing with the bad guy vector dot Y. God darn it, Y equals 430. Okay. So that'll give me some random positions to start with. And I like to get something working right away. So before I go any further, I'm just going to make sure that my code to randomly place them on the screen is working. And so if I want to draw anything, I do sprite batch dot begin, sprite batch dot end, and in between here I'm just going to put 2 draw commands, and it always starts with sprite batch. anytime we're putting something on the screen, it's going to be sprite batch command. And now I want to know what my font is, and I forgot my font up above, but that's okay. I'll type it in now. And the string is, and you know what? It always tries to fix that for me. So I think I'll just go back up here and sprite font. And there we go. Okay, so now I should be able to do my font. And the string is going to be the good guy. Whoops, not the vector, but just the string. And then I want the good guy's vector, and then I'm going to do color dot. We'll make him white. And then sprite batch dot draw string. Bad guy, and we'll use his vector, comma, and we'll make him black. Okay. Now, if I try to run this, which I will, I'll try to run it here, and I'll show you what I get for an error message. And it's taking its time, but it's coming up. And it should stop with an error when it tries to draw those strings. And my computer is really, really slow right now. Okay, so it says value cannot be null. What's that mean? It means that I'm using a variable that I haven't initialized. Okay, well, color.white is a constant, it's not a variable, so that can't possibly be a null value. As a matter of fact, if you pause the mouse over, it shows you what the value is. Okay, good guy vector is 10,359. Good guy is the letter J, and you hold it over font though, and font is null. Okay, so that's, if it tells you you've got a null argument, then what you need to do is just pause the mouse over these, and when one of them comes up and says null, what that almost always means is that you forgot to initialize it. Okay, so I'm going to close this, I'm going to stop my program from running, and I need to go initialize it. And the place where you initialize it is in load content. So right here I'm going to do font equals content.load sprite font. Okay, now there is no font over there on the right side called font, so I need to right click and add a new item, and what I'm adding is a sprite font, and I'm going to call it font, and it opens the XML file for me, and the only thing I'm going to worry about in here is I'm going to change the name of the font from the default font to the Wingdings font, which is right here. So when I run it, I get better looking characters. So Wingdings is one word. I'm going to close that and save it, and now I'm going to run my program, and this time it should work. And the good guy shows up in white down here, and the bad guy shows up in black up there, and those are really small, so but it's working. I'm getting random locations out here, so let's go out to sprite font here, and let's make that at least double what it is, and let's also make it bold. That'll make it look a little bigger too. And close that and save it. Okay, and I think I'll stop there, and we'll break this solution up into multiple videos, and we'll continue on the next video.